Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success talk show. I am your host, Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. I advise and empower women professionals, especially women veterans, to step into their most authentic personal brand to gain lucrative opportunities focusing on appearance, behaviors, communication skills, and digital presence. I am a professional keynote speaker, image consultant, personal brand expert, an author of yet, y'all, another book. Had another chapter that came out. So we're up to 4 now. And United States Air Force veteran of 30 years. That's right, 3 decades. So welcome to this space. Welcome to this show where I bring in men and women who are basically slaying on their own terms. And you want to know what slay means? Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym. Each letter stands for a life and leadership philosophy that really resonates with me the most. And it's kind of got me to where I'm at today. And that is stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, a sense of family, and you are built to last. So, welcome in. If this is your first time to the show, please let us know who you are and where you're streaming in from because y'all, I got a special guest tonight. I am super excited. I've been waiting all week to have her on the show, and she is here. So we will get started here shortly, and I'm going to tell her tell about her and all the things, and that way we can have a meaningful and such a rich conversation tonight. So go ahead and put in where you're streaming in from and listen, share, and subscribe. You never know who might need this message, this conversation that we are about to have, because we are here to inspire, we're here to empower, we are here to elevate. Okay, all the different areas and aspects of our lives. And so we do it here in our safe space. Thank you, River of Life Fellowship, for being here with us tonight. Good evening to you as well. Leslie, thank you so much for showing up. Leslie is always here in the building. So thank you so much for showing up on the show tonight. And so it is just my pleasure, y'all, to introduce my 42nd guest. This is right, 42 guests in about a year or so. Okay. And so it is just absolutely beautiful that I get to have yet another slay amazing woman. Her name is Mesha Mebane, and she is founder and CEO of Infrared Vision, is on a mission to change the mindset of the 40 plus community from fixed to growth, empowering them to feel they are truly living, not just existing. Utilizing her proprietary Visionprint strategies, she transforms her clients through the process to redefine, rebuild, and restore their mindset and live their best life. Infrared Vision was born out of Mesha's personal pain, confusion, and passion to achieve the best version of herself after the loss of her only child, inability to conceive again, several layoffs resulting in a career reinvention, divorce, and financial and personal challenges. She spent years aimlessly going through the motions with no optimism, no goals, no direction for the future. And then she realized that her full potential was more than she was physically doing. She was no longer living, just existing. So at the age of 43, she had a revelation. She was no longer going to continue with the life she was leading. It was time to smell the roses and see the beauty in them again. It wasn't easy, but she discovered a clear, precise, and laser focused vision to overcome adversity in a more strategic, organized, and authentic manner. She now shares this with others masterfully, creates a vision print for clients to redefine, rebuild, and restore their mindset in life. Y'all, please welcome my great friend, okay, because she is in my neighborhood, y'all. Okay, just around the corner, Mesha to this stage.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. I was listening to you say all that, and I was like, yeah, that's me.
That is you, Queen. And
Yeah, that is
I
me to a T.
am so excited about our conversation. And it all started to make sense to me, right? You have the rose that's right there on your mic, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
it just went in into how you got to be where you're at. And I love the representation. I love it. And y'all, we have not physically seen each other in person, but we
Not yet.
have been communicating. We've talked on the phone, and we just know that we are some soul sisters, right? Lost soul sisters that are on the mission to do the same thing. So we are very much in alignment. So you had to be on the show, Misha. You had to be on the show.
Yes, yes. It's almost like looking into a mirror, and then we have our behind the scenes cheerleader, coach, my business coach, and your friend, Maureen Gage Edwards,
Yep.
which I know she's somewhere listening. So I'm glad that she has put us together because she said, you two need to meet. Not only are you neighbors, but there's just certain similarities, and I said, okay, fine, I'm open to it. And I will tell you, I already feel a kindred spirit. I mean, praise God. I just know uh, because of God's gifts in my life. And one of them is being an empath. When I talked to you on the phone a few months back, I hung up and I said, that was easy. Can't wait till the interview. I sure
Love
did.
it.
I was like, that was easy. Can't wait till the interview.
Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh. You know, when you know, right? Because
Mhm.
like you said, our conversation was flowing, it's very easy. We had, very similar interests. And so, yeah, of course. And we live very close together. So y'all, when you see us two like in person, y'all just
Oh,
say
it's going
be
to
like, "Oh
happen.
Lord."
It's going to go down soon. I already got some
Yeah,
plans for this.
yes, it is. So it's just going to be a whole thing. So we
Yes.
have Curtis that just came into the building as well.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Curtis.
Curtis, hello. Hello. He is Curtis just became my client 30 days ago. So
Oh,
praise Curtis for being here. He's an awesome individual who is uh, really laser focused. That's an infrared vision term, laser focused on helping men take off their mask and
mm,
really understand who they are. And I told him he is on time for such the time as this.
yes, that's just a beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Curtis, for being here. And she gonna get you on track. All right.
Yeah, he told me last week to pump my brakes. I
Oh
was
no.
going, I was going a little bit too fast.
Yeah, we know. We all gas, okay? We are not
Uh-huh.
low dragging in here. So you just gonna
Oh,
have
I
to keep
see.
up.
This is the first lady of infrared vision. I see Diana Parker. I'll tell you about her. She's a special individual of infrared vision. She's the first lady because she's the first person that once Marine launched online with me, launched infrared vision online in September 2019. She was one of the first women to even honor my post, support the post, support the
Oh,
brand. And she has been my Maya Angelou, honey. She's protective and she will not let no nonsense go on the outside with viewers and followers.
that's
Uh,
right.
I'm gonna keep it real here. Like if she sees somebody that has 3 R's is similar to mine, like redefine, rebuild, restore, because it's a registered trademark, she will call me up and say, they getting close.
Oh, I
Girl, you,
love
you
it.
need you need spiritual people on the team like that. Yes, you do. You
Yes,
need
you
people
do.
looking out for you. Yes, you do.
Yes, you
Mhm.
do.
We have
Listen,
a
Deanna,
yeah,
is it Deanna or Diana?
Diana. We have a very special and very close tight spiritual and emotional and physical relationship. And I've never met her. She's down in Florida, but I feel like I know her. And I praise God for the interaction, just like yourself.
Yeah, you can't help but to have this feeling when you have people that have been brought into your life that want to support you and are cheerleading for you all the time. So, Diana, thank you so much for being part of the show and supporting Mesha in our conversation. So, the audience doesn't really know you yet. Okay, and so, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? Kind of like when you were younger. I said some things in your bio that kind of alluded to it, but I would love for you to elaborate just a little bit about that. And then kind of how you got to where you're at right now. So tell us little to nothing. We could just we're just having conversation, Queen. That's what we having.
All right. So some of my listeners have heard this story before, but how I call it pivoting.
Mm,
My life began to pivot at a state of around age 43, Rochelle.
mm-hmm,
And I like telling this story because if you haven't had a moment like this, over the age of 40, I'm sure one will. Some people call it, what do you call it? That midlife crisis type thing.
mm-hmm,
I don't call it a midlife crisis. What I call it is, because I'm very spiritual, I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. What I call it is was a religious wake up within myself,
mm-hmm,
because I had always been in sales since 1993. I used to live in Dayton, Ohio. I was married to an Italian gentleman at the time, and somewhere in my late 20s, I always wanted to be just like your parents. They tell you, my parents tell me, grow up, you know, wait, get married, then have kids,
mm-hmm,
and then live your life, be happy. I mean, that's a lot of the patterns of my family members had did, and some not. Some just had kids and not married,
mm-hmm,
my cousins. So but I decided to do it what their way of telling me to do it. And so when it went left, uh, immediately, meaning I was pregnant, and then living in Cincinnati, Ohio, in a beautiful home in Knots Landing, what I call it. Back then, Knots Landing was a very popular show, and I had a home in Knots Landing in Cincinnati, Ohio, and was happy to be pregnant. Was just really wanted to be a mother. I mean, more than anything else in my life. I mean, I know some other people probably have aspirations to do something else, but
mm-hmm,
I just wanted to be a mother. So, unfortunately, in 1996, October 1996, around the 18th or 19th, I began to feel terrible, and they rushed me to the hospital and could not stop her from coming, like at 28 and a half weeks. And so she was born very early, and she was like below 2 pounds. When I was
mm-hmm,
born, I was like born very early. So my mom was like, wow, this is deja vu. I was supposed to be born in October back in 19 something, but I was born in July of 1966. I always joke around. It's like, it's hot in the summertime. I must want to come out, you know.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but make a long story short, yeah. So I went through a very traumatic experience, and she was born. And I can say that she was born so fast that it was really strange, because half of her face was gorgeous and the other half was very bruised. And
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't really get to connect with her because she had to stay in an incubator. And so people wonder what does the rose represent? Well, the rose represent my daughter Mara. And how the rose came about in my life is that my mother, when I was a little girl, she used to give me a rose on a chain and just tell me that I was a classy young lady. And as I grew up, she would give me a bigger rose on a chain and a bigger one. And so I had a dozen of roses waiting on my daughter to lay on her chest when she was born, but I never got to give them to her. So she was here and gone within 12 hours. So very traumatic experience. And then after that, probably about 6 months, I found myself and my ex-husband at the time on very different paths. So within 6 months of losing her and planning for a divorce, I sold everything and then moved to Maryland. At the time, I was working for a company called Lucent Technologies. So I looked for a job. I didn't know where I was going, but I had to get up out of there. I wanted to redefine myself. That's where the three R's come from, too, because a lot of people, when you go through trauma, you either stay in it or you
Mhm.
choose to redefine yourself. So for me, I had never moved. I moved small moves like from Dayton to Cincinnati to Indianapolis to follow him because he used to work for Men's Warehouse. But I had never moved for me in my entire life. So I followed the path of taking a promotion to the DMV area at the time. And at the time, I don't know, girl. I sold the house, sold the four-wheel drive, went to a parking lot, picked me out a shiny black at the time. Mitsubishi Eclipse were popular because they had the
Mhm.
Fast and the Furious. Girl,
Mhm.
I went on a parking lot, pointed at this shiny black convertible, and I bought it. And I was like, I am going to drop top roll from now on. It was just something inside of me that said, get a convertible and be free. And so, long story short, after I took the promotion, I packed up the little back seat with what I could, but I told my parents, I said, y'all can send a truck later, but I got into the car like Thelma and Louise and made an 8-hour trip from Dayton, Ohio, back in 1999, and just drove away. I could see them in the rearview mirror waving at me, and I just came down the road. I cried a little bit. I was also excited about what was ahead of me, very scared. I never moved to a city such as the DMV area. You know, when you're in a small town country girl from Ohio, you hear all these stories about a big city. You're like, whoo, what am I about to go to? You know, so as the hours click off, it was about a 7.5 hour drive. Well, I made it about a 7 hour drive. I had my foot in the floor
Head
really,
on the floor.
but I had my foot in the floor. I ain't gonna lie. So I ended up dropping from 70 to 495 down by Silver Spring, Maryland, and I was overwhelmed because at that particular time it was warm. Uh, the highway was packed, and I was like, "What in the world am I about to get into?" You know, we don't have 4-lane highways in
Yeah.
Ohio, so it was kind of crazy. And so I made my way to the hotel, and then I stayed there for a couple of weeks, and they gave me an opportunity to look for an apartment, and that's where my redefine began. So I stayed in Silver Spring for about a year. And then I woke up one day and I wanted to buy a house. I no longer wanted to rent. And I was like, the rents here were crazy. You know, the high rent in Dayton was, you know, around Sharonville area was around $600, and then people would be asking you, "What ritzy place do you stay in?" But
Mhm.
the rent here, I still remember like yesterday writing my first check for $1,500, and I was like, wow. So I stayed there for a year, and then I came out of church. I used to go to church, to this church up by the FedEx building called City of Praise. And I just came out of there boldly after a sermon where she talked about what do you want, and walking around the mountain 7 times, and speak to God boldly about what you want. And I just spoke to God boldly about, I want to buy a house. And so I started looking. I got a real estate agent. I only looked at 3 areas, and then I ended up where we are now. And what it was is that the deck right across from where I'm at was the office. And so we went in there, and the real estate agent, she was like, well, you don't really qualify. Your debt to income ratio is kind of wacky. And I said, no, I'm gonna trust God. I'm gonna do a Proverbs 3:5 thing. I'm gonna trust God. And I turned around, Rochelle, and I kid you not, I looked out the window, and there was a sign on the deck of where I am at now. And I said, I pulled her over there. I said, you see that sign? And she was like, yeah. I said, how much is that one? And she looked, and I said, I'm going to get that house. And she was like, how you know? I said, no, I'm going to get that house. And it turns out that in order to qualify, you had to be a first time home buyer. And I never bought property with my ex. And then the second thing was, the guy was giving closing help. And he actually was from Ohio. And it was weird because when I came to look at the house, he comes in. Normally, you don't meet the seller, right? So he comes in the house while I'm looking, and he looks at me and he says, do you like it? I said, I do. I really do. I said, but I'm having trouble qualifying for the loan. He's like, don't you worry. He was like, we'll make it happen. And next thing I know, 30 days later, I closed on the house. And he helped me make it happen. So, and I praise God for that, because, like I said, normally you don't meet the seller. So I feel like it was all about alignment.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, she just said a whole lot of things, and I got a lot of questions and a lot of things to say. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna welcome in our peoples. Okay, our community is showing up tonight. So
Oh,
Latricia, thank
good.
you so much for being here, Queen. And we got Kat that's also tuning in. We had Maureen who showed up. Okay, so she's here tonight.
Hey, Dwayne.
Hey, Maureen. And we have Duke. Duke said, I'm here. Let's go. Let's
All
go.
right,
Smiling.
Duke. That's
Sorry I'm
my,
late.
yeah, that's my new team member, actually. Duke is
Oh,
going to be helping me out
awesome.
soon. Yes, yes.
So thank y'all for being here. And we got Girl Talk podcast. Hola, Melissa is here.
Okay.
Um, and also we had one comment that Leslie had a silver gallant as well. So when you were talking about your Mitsubishi, girl, I can't even say it. Mitsubishi
Mitsubishi Eclipse. Mitsubishi.
Eclipse. Okay. Then
At the
she's
time,
like,
they were hot. They were hot back then.
oh yeah, I know. Oh, I know. So I could picture you rolling down in the highway 295 with the
Uh-huh.
sunroof
Black on
down.
black,
Yeah,
shiny. Mm-hmm.
just
It would.
ready.
You know how some people get a revenge dress?
Yes,
Honey, I got me a revenge car. I got the
that's
heck
what I'm
out of
talking about. Look, I ain't mad at you. All right, because I love me some nice cars, and my car I got, I'm like, me and that mama, we be rolling on the road. Y'all
there.
just get out the way when I come. So okay, so first of all, I truly want to say, my condolences for your loss. Because and for you to be able to share it with our audience and being very transparent about your experience, I'm truly grateful that you were able to do that for us, because there have been so many of us who have had loss and some who have lost children. I had a woman on the show maybe a few weeks ago, and she was talking about her nonprofit that she does, and she helps women who have loss of their child get through some of the experience with support.
Mhm.
So thank you for sharing that with us. But I am, truly, my condolences and sympathies for you for that.
Thank you.
Um,
I choose to be transparent to help somebody else because at
Absolutely.
that particular time it was complicated back then. But
Yeah.
I choose to be an open book to help somebody else to see that, if you do the work, you can smile on the other side, you can get back up again.
Yeah. I love that. Now, okay, like your story is absolutely beautiful. And I am thinking to myself, at what point, okay, because that's not easy for you
Mhm,
to pick up, sell
mhm,
all the things, and just
mhm.
say, I'm out of here
I'm
and
out.
go to a location that no one, you have never seen before. I'm from Indiana. So look, I know Ohio too. It's the same type of quaint, and when I went into the military, I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing with myself. So, but I was in a institution, if you will. You
Mhm,
just decided, I'm out. I take this
mhm.
job promotion and I'm out. What what was the thought for that? Now, you say you at the time, well, you talked about redefine, but I'm not sure if you really knew that at that point.
Mm-mm.
What was what in you said, I'm leaving? Because there's some people who are having these situations and they just stay and do the same old thing.
Well, I remember the day I was in church and I happened to be in this beautiful red suit and I tapped my best friend on the shoulder. I was in tears because I was still mourning and stuff like that. And I said, I tapped her. I said, Bridget, I'm not going to be here much longer. And we went through years of being friends through high school and everything. By this time, we're what I graduated high school at eight. I'm telling my age, but 84.
Okay.
But hey, but this was in 1996, 1997. I said, look, I'm not going to be here much longer. It was an internal message. I can't even tell a lie. It was an
Mm.
internal message and a feeling that I got that after 20 something years and being in Dayton, Ohio, and people have, I'm glad you asked this question because I feel like you're right. People stay somewhere way too long. And I felt like the process, the life, the everything that I could do in Ohio. And I love my family. I love my friends there. But for me, I could feel a tug and a pull that there was something more for me to do, more growth, more of something that God would have me to go discover and be. And I'm doing this by myself. I mean, the only people that were on the other side in Maryland were a couple cousins that I hadn't seen in a few years. Other than that, I really didn't have any connections. So I am just really, Rochelle, doing a Proverbs 3:5 thing. I'm
Mm.
like, well, shoot, if he aligned if he aligned a promotion, because the story around the promotion, Lucid Technologies at the time was not supposed to be having budget to relocate people.
Mm.
But I had a lady who was really believing in me in Cincinnati, Ohio, who put me in management when I shouldn't been in management. And she contacted the other lady on the Maryland side and said, "Hey, can you stand to pay for half of her relocation and I'll pay for the other half?" So I just felt like there was a full participation that I didn't even understand to get me to where is to go. And then where I was going to go. So that's what we talk about with faith. Faith
Yeah.
without works is dead. I mean, so if some I am a true believer that if something is in alignment for me, then
Mm.
I must go discover it. So why say no? Why not discover it? And that's exactly what I was on the path to do.
Yeah.
And I was still heartbroken. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going anyway. And I will deal with my hurt, my pain, and everything else on the other side, but I'm going.
You know what? I know that again, many women that I personally know who just stay where they're at because it's just easier. and what you're just speaking about is just getting out of our comfort zone for what we already knew, and you having that intuition, that gut feeling that this is not it. This is definitely not it. And I just need to get up and move. And so you coming here and you going into that particular job. Now, I know you don't work for that job anymore.
No. No, no,
No. So,
no.
what was that transition for you to find you've got, infrared vision, So what was that, and what kind of steps did you take to get to where you're at right now?
Okay, so the job that I moved here for, right around, we just honored uh, what happened in New York the other day. So,
Mhm.
right around that time when that event happened, I was only on the job for a year after relocation, and then the company laid off like 365,000 people, so including me. 1 year, I'm here, and I buy the house. And then after that, I get laid off. It was my first
Wow.
time ever being laid off in my life. Here I'm in a new city, so that was very fearful. We had that incident in New York happen that we just celebrated the other day, again, after so many years. And so I'm actually watching that event because I'm on an unemployment. So at that particular time, I was just really, again, in that redefine mode after 1 year being laid off. So I was like, I ask these questions with infrared now. What is my next? What is your next? So I did end up with another position. I, again, have been in outside sales most of my life. So I did obtain a copier job in Baltimore, Maryland, and I sold to 7 counties.
Mm.
And basically stuck with that job until about 2007. And then I started working for CBS Radio for a short stint for Jack FM, selling radio ads and what have you. And then I didn't really like that job. So basically, from there, I ended up with a short stint with somebody else in Baltimore and then got laid off again. So
Wow.
yes, so it was just crazy. And so 2008, 9, 10, I really struggled financially, and it was almost scary. The house was heading towards foreclosure. I was about to lose everything I owned, so much so that I had a girlfriend in the rear. I don't know if she's on tonight, but she got a phone call and she was like, we have extra space in our house. If you need it, you let me know. But I'm a fighter, right?
Mm.
So I basically just was like, you know what? I am not going down like this. I started getting up and doing odd jobs that people would probably look down their nose on, or whatever the case may be. And basically, I see myself as a survivor and thrivers. I learned something during that layoff that I didn't learn before. Is that sometimes, Rochelle, you could have opportunities. Like, I like not hoarding opportunities. So if I see an opportunity for somebody else and I call you and say, hey, there's an opportunity. I had other people that were where we live, where that were losing their homes back then, right? So
Yeah.
I found this program that was available, and I said, I got this program. We need to go. Some people would turn me down, even the neighbors. I live in what we call bi-level condos. So
Mhm.
the people downstairs lost their house. The people across the street lost their house. But I was in front of the banks in PG County where they were giving away these programs. And basically, I was sharing the information, and I was surprised that some people want to save themselves and some people
Mm.
don't. Some
Mm.
people don't. And also, I learned that some people are not as humble as they say they are. Curtis laughed at me a couple weeks ago because I call people suchy muchy. See, so So what? I used to make X amount. At that particular time in 2008, 9, and 10, I had to humble myself because I prayed to God, just get me on somebody's payroll so
Mm.
I won't lose everything. So I ended up getting a position up off of Nursery Road at this auto mechanic place called ATI. And it was half, like $17 an hour, half of what I was used to making. But at least I could get on their payroll and I could start to make sense of my life. And I love this story because then you'll understand where infrared came from. So when I get to this company, it is mandatory from day one that you create vision boards. It was mandatory from the president's office all the way through the coach's office, all the way through the call center, just where I was working. I never worked in a call center since I was 18, but I took the job. And if you did not have a creation of a vision board on your desk when he walked by, you would get written up or fired, and you had to change it each year. So at first, I didn't take it seriously, but then I was like, why not? While everybody else were putting their $1 million homes and the big pretty cars and all that, I put my life on there as it was, which it was a capital MESS. You hear me?
Mm.
I got to figure out how to pull the house out of foreclosure. I'm in over $60,000 worth of debt. And I just got some things that are scrambled in my head and need to reorganize my life. So the redefine comes in there. But at this point, I'm at the rebuild stage. Okay. So I take this
Mm.
tool very seriously. And each year, I was there for 5 years. Each year, I would challenge myself to pull at least 3 goals off of it that were absolutely complete. And what that was is that I got my house out of foreclosure, I paid off my car, and I paid off 50% of my debt. And that was in the first 2 or 3 years from the job. Now, year 4, I started thinking, do I really like this job? And the answer was no. So inside of me, I said, you know what? I'm going to find a strategy to where maybe I can entertain becoming an entrepreneur. So I looked at my resume and I said, Mesha, I have to talk to myself sometimes.
Oh, I talk to myself too. So let's,
I
yes.
said, I said, Mesha, look at your resume. Here you are in your 40s. Look at all this talent, all this strength, all this adversity that you have been through, child. You have got to see yourself as an asset. You're going to love what I'm about to say. You have got to see yourself as an asset and not a liability. Say it with me. You have got to see yourself as, say it with me, Rochelle. You have
You have
got
got
to
to
see
see
yourself
yourself as
as
an
an
asset,
asset and not a
not a
liability.
liability.
Soon as that came out of my mouth, God showed me the fact that I had been in sales since 1993, that I was an asset to that company. I'm the one that's making the revenue flow, right? So therefore, you will be so proud of me. I found a company out of Nashville, Tennessee, who hired me as a 1099 contractor. I wrote a contract with them in 2009. I'm still with them today. I'm a third of their annual income. And so I had put on the vision board that I was going to walk out the door, get some major contracts, walk out the door of the back door of that job. So we go from being laid off, feeling down, to taking power and control after you realize that you are an asset and not a liability. And you walk out the door on the date that you put on the vision board yourself. I ran out the back door with my box and I never looked back. So from 2015 to 2018, I come into my house that I pulled out of foreclosure, car paid off, 50% debt out of debt, and I sit here for 3 years on vacation until I meet Maureen Gage Edwards at a SCORE meeting. I spent on vacation from 2015 to 2018, chilling. I'm gonna just stop right there because I know.
Look, okay, because guess what? You done got this whole audience pumped up. They are these comments. I can't keep up, y'all. Y'all in here giving her so many flowers and just they love this quote. Or you have to see yourself, okay, as an asset and not a liability. And that is something that people sometimes forget, all right, about what and who we are made of. And Dwayne is here. Dwayne, thank you so much for being here tonight. Okay. He is going to put these comments in here because they come straight out of the Bible and he know. Okay, fearfully and wonderfully made. All right,
Yeah,
created in the image and likeness of
I'm
God. Called.
trying not to go there. I can do, I have two books in my head, but I'm speaking English tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah,
But I
so
have the capability to go ahead and preach a sermon if you give me a moment. But go
right.
ahead. All right.
Yeah. And even, Sadisha is here. Thank you so much for Sadisha for being here. We got Shakina in the building. Thank you so much. She also put down your quote. Um, you know, what you said has probably freed up a lot of people, okay, to think about where they're at right now and where they could be in the future. And just using a tool as a vision board. I've been to a million one vision board parties, right? And sometimes, you don't take them seriously, you don't really think about it, right? But they do work because I remember when I retired from the military, I had a vision board and I accomplished all the things that I had on there because I just wanted to do things differently. I want to show up differently in this next chapter. So I'm gonna look. The new year about to be here before we know it, y'all.
I'm
I'm
trying.
about to straighten my
I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here kind of calm, but I'm about to bring the fire. So go ahead. I'm letting
okay,
you.
well no. Go ahead. Let's get the fire. What you got going on?
All right. So after sitting for 3 years on vacation, I was like, wow, I'm working on the contract on my own terms, and I'm a third of their annual income. So I'm doing pretty good on my own. But then I had a cancer scare in 2017.
Mm.
Okay. So I went in for a gallbladder removal, and turns out before they let me go from the hospital, they kindly told me, they said, Mesha, you have a cyst on your left side. I said, what? And they like, yeah, get that checked out immediately. And I was like, okay. So I got out the hospital, and 2 days later, I'm all bandaged up, and I call a specialist, and they tell me to get in immediately. Turns out the doctor that I was assigned to, he was going to take a vacation. He looked at me, examined me, and he said I had a big cyst over my left adrenal gland. We have two adrenal glands above our below our kidneys, one on your left and one on your right. And the one on my left was totally encased by a cancerous tumor with all these cancer cells encased inside. So he was getting ready to go on a long-term vacation, like 3 months, the guy that was supposed to do surgery on me. And next thing I know, 2 days later, he calls me back. He says, I consulted with my associates, and they told me to treat you like a family member. This is exactly what he said. And they told me to delay my vacation and get you in now, because if I let you go till February, those cancer cells will seep into your body and you will no longer be here.
Oh, wow.
So I felt like that God interceded on that.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, they called me back in 2 weeks later, and I had a robot that had to go in and actually get this thing out of me very, sensitively, and take it out so they would not burst it and all these cells be coming through my body. So
Right.
I get out of that situation and I arrive at my office. I'm fast forwarding to a year later, And on my 52nd birthday, I just thank God for my life because I have so much to be grateful for, right? You know, I mean, everything, all the adversity, and this is what infrared vision is all about. It's like all this adversity, what are you going to do? Are you asking yourself questions? So I had to ask myself, but Rochelle, the Father I serve doesn't leave me alone. So he asked me to get a pen and paper, and I start writing this stuff down on my birthday. It was a download of July of 2018. And I don't talk like this, so I know it had to come from a higher power. He gave me the name Infrared Vision. He told me write it down. He told me that I was to serve the 40 plus community in mindset. And he said, I want you to teach about the principles of my word through mindset. I'm going to give my secrets away tonight. But I want you to help the people because the 40 plus community, somewhere along the way, if you really think about it, me and Maureen talk about it all the time, where we come from the silent generation of parents. And
Yes.
no one really talked about the terminologies of what it takes around mindset in order to do. They just did. They did whatever. They did the best they could, or whatever the case may be. So he gave me the verse of Proverbs 29:18. He said, I already put you in a job where you were creating vision boards. Now I want you to take it a step further. And here's the foundation that I want you to build this business on, which is Proverbs 29:18, which your people will perish for the lack thereof a vision. And he
Mm,
asked me to focus on the 40 plus community because 10, like where I came from, you can either have a choice to lean back and think that's all there is,
mhm,
or you can step up to the plate and lean forward. And what he was saying to me is that in his word, it says, greater are, I told you I have this two hats, right? Greater are
I
your
love it.
latter days. Greater are your latter days. I'm looking right in the camera. Greater are your latter days than your first. So, how can greater become in your latter days than your first if you do not have the right mindset? Now, I used to not have the right mindset. That
Mhm,
that woman that came from Dayton, Ohio, even though she was scared, she had a fixed mindset. But as soon as I said the word yes and allowed
mhm,
the higher power to guide me and drive down that highway, that's where my growth start happening. See, people think growth and a growth mindset, they only see the aspects of monetary. But as soon as you say the word yes, you are already into a growth mode automatically because you are going to open up your mind to the new possibilities of where you think you need to go. You don't need to have all the answers. I used to be this perfectionist and want to have all the answers. You
mhm,
don't need to have all the answers. My philosophy at Infrared is you just need to say yes and you just need to move in a thing. You hear me?
look, y'all. Okay.
Do you want to drink some water? You just need to move in a thing.
Woo.
You just need to move. Why are you sitting back waiting on all the answers? Just move in a thing. So that's what I did. And I arrived at a SCORE meeting. And next thing I know, I see this wonderful woman who is teaching the SCORE class so dramatically that I am stunned and I don't know her. And I'm like, she is spitting out theory like I have never known. And I'm just this person where I don't know what is my next, how to do it, whatever the case may be. So when the meeting was over, I went up and stood behind Maureen. I hope she's listening. I went up and stood right behind her and she looked over her shoulder. She said, can I help you? I said, I want to hire you. And she said, I'm not for hire. I have lots of clients. I'm good. I'm busy. So she turns back around. I'm still standing there. And she looked again. She said, I said, I want to hire you. And she said, Oh my goodness. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just standing there, just basically stalking her. And so, therefore, she gave me her card and we connected. And after that, the story starts in September 2019, where Infrared was launched on LinkedIn. I'm the only on this platform. And next
And
thing you
follow her.
know, right. And it was launched on LinkedIn, and the story starts from there with the business to help the 40 plus community to redefine, rebuild, and restore. We don't talk about mindset enough. We need to,
Mhm.
because a lot of us are operating from the wrong mindset as we approach our lives, certain situations. So I stay in my lane. I don't get into the psychological aspect. I don't get in your lane where you're professional or business. I stay in my lane of mindset, because mindset, once you open it up and you allow people to be educated about fixed growth, positive, poverty, you name it, it opens up highways and allows you to
Mhm.
make better decisions. And then I can pass them on to you or a Marine or some other type of coach or whatever the case may be. But until you get your mindset right, you are going to stay in the same place that you always have and always will be. And I don't want that to happen to the 40 plus community. I want people to get up and stop existing and start living. And the reason why I love my story, you have to love your own story,
Yes.
because it's full of pain, it's full of difficulties, but I believe that I am a living example that you can get up again to redefine, rebuild, and restore, and smile again, live again, be bold, be brave, be you, and actually do what it is you need to do. You're only going to come down this path one time. I mean,
That's
my
right.
gosh, it's been 6 years now. I've been rolling with Maureen. Me and her, I call her Ebony and Ivory. Yes, Ebony and Ivory. And let me tell you something else. I'm dyslexic, and that sister girl, I know she like. I know she can call me sister girl. That sister girl keeps me straight. You hear
Right.
me? I'm
Yeah.
dyslexic. I don't let that stand in my way. My brand, you would never know. And she helps me stay on the path and stay. I need her. She helps me stay on the path and stay straight. And I'm just, it's been 6 years. That 6 years has gone by fast. And I'm still excited as I was back in September of 2019. Now, it hasn't been easy.
Oh, I know.
It
I'm sure.
hasn't been easy. People think entrepreneurship is easy. It
Oh,
hasn't been easy.
girl. I don't know where they get that notion from. Maybe because they see, they see us moving here, doing that, creating this, creating that. But, the hours behind it, the energy and the effort that you got to put into it, if they only knew, right? In the life and the day of an entrepreneur, and to really kind of see where, we have these ups and downs and twists and turns, right?
Mhm.
So I absolutely love what you've shared with us, because you're absolutely right. I wrote my book specifically for women 40 and over,
Mm.
because 40 is a time where you really start to recalculate, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I really working for? Why is it that I am not as happy, fulfilled, and satisfied as I would like to be? Right. And you're right. It's this mindset, this mindset where you got to do some introspection, and you really got to figure out who you are and how you want to work towards the goals that you want to achieve. Because sometimes people tell us what to do, okay? Tell us what to do with our life. And that's not really where we want to go and what we want to be. So I absolutely love that. Go ahead, because I know you have
Yeah.
something.
What I want to say is you need to stop comparing yourself to other people.
Oh,
See,
yes.
I'm not trying to please Rochelle. I'm not trying to please Maureen. I'm trying to please myself. And it's funny because the last couple of years, I didn't even realize softly, the coach that has helped me get to where I'm at and calls me a wise woman. She always calls me that after every interview we have. And she says I operate not from theory, but real life practicality. She's a
Mhm.
theory woman. But
Yeah.
for me, I have to break it down to real life practicality. It has a little bit to do with my dyslexia, but I want to be relatable and be real. You see what I'm saying? There
Yep.
is no mask with me, period. In fact, ask Maureen about the day when you next time you see her, about when she launched me online in September 2019, and then I shocked her. I had a live event up in not Gambrills, Hanover, Maryland,
Uh-huh.
at a very classy hotel. You know where the grill fire is?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I rented a beautiful room there and created an event, and it was awesome. And I started that event with a red and black mask on. And my point behind that stripping that mask off, is that everybody at some point over the age of 40, you need to strip your mask off and get
Mhm.
real with yourself. It is a fallacy to get to this phase of your life and not lean in. If you're
Mhm.
going to lean back, which a lot of my family and friends have,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you found this, Rochelle. You tell me. I always flip it around on the interview.
Yeah.
Um, you tell me, have you found it within yourself that when you decide to grow, it's not that you don't care for the people, but people start acting different towards you? What's been your experience on that?
Oh, absolutely. I have been told many times, you think you're better than everybody, or, you out doing your own thing, or, sometimes the comments are like, what's this little thing you working on? So it's
Little
like,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
All right now.
All right
Little
now.
thing.
If you want,
Okay.
what I mean? I just, but it's because they see you doing something that's different and they don't quite understand it. And so
Mhm,
sometimes then they want to, minimize, play it
mhm,
off that you aren't really doing anything. You just messing around. Okay.
mhm,
You just got a little side hustle over here, or you just have something that, something that they just don't know anything about. And it's that they don't want to get to know anything about
mhm,
it. And sometimes I think they're scared, and it's because we have typically been in a 9 to 5 mentality, right? Work, get 20 years in, 30 years, like if you
mhm,
30 years of career, then you get a watch. Some companies give you a watch, okay? And they say thank you, and they give you a watch. Well, if you're not doing that and you're doing something different than that, then they're like, we don't know what you're doing. You're really not making a paycheck. You're really not, paying for the bills. So I think
mhm.
that for me, that's been my experience is,
Do you,
go ahead.
do you know I didn't double my income until I quit my day job?
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I just want to say that I was boxed in on the day jobs, and
Yeah.
I was able to create a higher income on my own. Like I said, do you see yourself as an asset and not a liability? It
Hmm.
depends. It's up to you. And once you start seeing yourself as an asset, the
Yes.
whole mindset shifts and changes. And you may not have all the answers, but that is the thing that actually defines you. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. Because again, and I know that a lot of us are walking different paths and have different experiences. I mean, my experience for me has really been, you know, do as you're told. You're boxed in. Okay. Here's policies, rules, guidelines. Don't don't go outside of that. And when I retired and really had to sit with myself and figure out, like, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? I want to do something creative. I like just getting new opportunities, new people, new experiences. Let me explore. I want to see what's out here, because I didn't really get an opportunity. I went in at the age of 18 and retired at the age of 49.
Mm.
So there's a long span of time where I didn't really get to see, and being an entrepreneur allows me to do that, because there's networking events, there's calls, there's collaborations, there's partnerships where you get to really talk to people that you've never really talked before and listen to their story and then share your story.
Yeah, and you also develop your own talents to the extent that you never knew before, because
Absolutely.
you're not in that box. You are creating your own vision, your own infrared
Yes.
vision. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
things become sharper, things become clearer, and those things that you don't understand or you can't do, then you hire those people to get those things done. But it is definitely a journey. But I will tell you, based on what you have heard, I always say every day when I get out of bed, I want to do good. You see,
Mm,
I want to
yes.
do good. I want to treat people well. I want
Yes.
people to be knowledgeable about their mindset. I'm very passionate that as you're aging, as I'm aging, that we're aging in the right mindset, not the old ideologies of what I grew up hearing was like, it's too late, or
Mhm.
do you really want to do that at this age, or do you what why don't you just sit down somewhere and no no. I'm in the
That's funny.
position now where I can be bold, I can
Yeah.
be brave, I can be me. I'm not going to fall. I was already there some years ago. I'm not going to fall back into your fixed mindset ideologies. I'm over here in the growth section. And if
Yes.
you want to come meet me over here,
Yes.
that's where I'm at. You got to make the
Right.
decision. I'm not coming. I mean, I'll come over there and help you. I'll pull you over, but I'm not sitting in your nosebleed section of a fixed mindset and going back there. I'm careful about who I hang with.
Oh, yes.
I'm careful about who I talk to. I'm careful about what I listen to. You
Yes.
got to guard you're gonna make me preach up in here. You got
Look,
to
you
guard
about
your
to,
you got
I
to
got my fan.
guard, you got to guard your gates these days. You hear me? If you actually want to go and obtain growth, you got to guard your gates and make sure that you are walking in that direction. You're talking in that direction.
Mm,
You are moving in that direction, which my favorite terminology is, are you in alignment?
yes. Oh, yes.
I
And
got you. I got you wanting to
yeah,
throw up your hands, girl.
yeah.
I see you.
Okay,
I
first
see
of all, how do you like share with us, y'all? You normally we closing it up, okay, at the top of the hour, but of course I've got a couple of questions. So if you're hanging with us, thank you. We absolutely love that you are here, because I just have to ask y'all, okay, how do you know if you are in alignment? You know, because sometimes we're doing things right and we think we are, but what have you seen in your experience?
So I'm gonna give you this story that I said in another interview. It's a joke. It make you laugh, funny, haha. So my ex, I just split with somebody 4 years ago. It's my second husband, and he says to me, he was like, I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere. And I was like, okay, watch where your feet go. And he
Oh,
goes, what do you mean watch where my feet go? I said, because your mouth is saying one thing, but your mind is thinking something else. I know what you're thinking. I've been with you a long time. And your feet is going in another direction. You are out of alignment, and it's going to show up in my face one day soon. And
mm,
he was like, what you talking about, Misha? No, I know exactly what I'm talking about. In order to be in alignment, You have to be talking the same direction, thinking the same direction, and walking the same direction. Don't think it's going to happen any other way. That is the only way that alignment happens, when all three are moving simultaneously in the same direction.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I y'all, was this not good or what? Okay, y'all. Misha just came in here and dropped so many gems in here that it's just unreal. Like, I just want to thank you for just even coming on the show saying yes, because believe in me. All right. I know there's so many things that are happening for you in the background that a lot of people just don't know about, and you decided to come here on this show and just grace us with your presence and with your wisdom, and to really let us kind of reflect, really think about how we moving, what is happening in our lives. Are there things that we need to do differently to change up, because every now and again we need to, and you got so many comments in here, Misha, it's not even funny. They're like,
Well,
it's like your mouth speaks, your actions are incapable of supporting, not in alignment.
so I just want to leave you with this. This is what about getting a 3 R's mindset is all about, okay? To redefine, rebuild, and restore. And you're going to have to take these steps. And don't listen to other people. Like a single person can't give a married person any advice about their marriage.
Hmm.
Don't listen to a boxed in thinking, stinking thinking individual when you're trying to grow. They can't guide you. You're going to need a mentor that is sold out on growth and growth mindset and other mindsets in order to even get you moving in the right direction. So I will say to you this. Maureen asked me one time, she goes, "What sets you apart from other mentors or coaches?" I said, "For one, I'm authentic." And I made a post today about authenticity. I
Hmm.
don't need to hide anything behind a curtain. I've shared very personal things with you today.
Yep.
There's nothing about me that is a closed book. I believe that God sends us down a path for us to open up and not be shy about what we've gone through so we can help another generation. Remember when I said that Marina and I had a conversation about coming from a silent generation?
Hmm.
God told me, don't leave no stone unturned before I leave this earth, because people behind us, it is our responsibility, Rochelle, to open up and tell the truth, because the people that are coming behind us need to hear how we got over certain adversities. If you
Mm.
don't tell it, they don't learn. And that's a fallacy to your life, my life, and theirs.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Y'all, and with that, oh my goodness. Okay, so after we done pass the plate, so everybody, got to give up a little bit of change, if you will. Pass the plate. Um, so my final question for you is about your legacy. Like, if God gives you 80, okay, 80 years of life,
Right.
what would you want your family and friends to say about you?
I want them to say that I was a woman who didn't practice I woulda, I coulda, I should have. There's a lot of people around me that don't understand who I am. I've had to separate myself from several friends who don't understand my growth. I just let a love of my life go 4 years ago because we were not on the same page. Um, I just believe that I'm on a fiery path that I just turned 58 in July. So if you think you got a lot of time left, you really don't, because eventually you're going to be fighting with time, whether you're cognitively or physically able to do whatever it is you need to do. But I just want the people who ever speak on my behalf, and it better be somebody good. Might have to be you or Marine or something. But I want people to remember me by is that I just left no stone unturned. That I didn't go, woe is me. The reason why the vision print strategies are created is because a lot of people don't know who they are outside of titles. They identify
Mhm.
themselves through a title. But
Yep.
because I am not a mother, I'm currently not a wife, you know, I don't get down on those things. Some days, I go, oh, my goodness, but I don't let it stop me. So who are you outside of a title? So the legacy I want to leave in answering your question is that I just want people to say, you know what? Whether she did it and she was extravagant, mediocre, or nobody really knew her, she did it anyway. And
Mhm.
so I don't need to be successful, like, no, to be like up in lights and all that. That is not my mission. My mission is to wake up some people that have been asleep out there and learn more about their mindset, because people think mindset is a cliche, but your mindset is everything from the time you get up to the
Mhm.
time you go to bed. It's not separate from you. You have a brain, so you have a mindset, and you have to deal with whatever it is. So in closing, I just like to say that people, I just want them to know that I gave it my all, whether it was successful or not. I don't want to be looking up later on and going, you know what? I regret the fact that I never became an entrepreneur. No, that's not going to be me. And you should be proud of yourself. You see what I'm saying? We'll be
Mhm.
sitting up here 10, 15 years from now, praise the Lord, and we'll be like, you know what? We did it. It was good. And I'm proud of myself.
Absolutely. I'm already saying those things right now.
All right. All
You
right.
know, that's right. You
Yes.
know, y'all y'all heard it here, okay? In this space here, Misha came and she did not disappoint y'all.
Well,
So
infrared light brings the fire before it
that's
brings the
right.
heat,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. Like
Okay.
every
All
single
right. All
time,
right.
every
That's my
single
job.
time,
That's my
y'all.
job.
Okay. So make sure that you are following her. She spends all her time, okay, in the LinkedIn space. So if you have not been in LinkedIn, please get there, okay, because that's where all the magic is happening over there, right? So get over there, follow her, see what she's talking about. If you need support, she is more than happy to help. We've got so many people that were here, y'all. We're here in the building and just giving us what we need as far as these comments. So Shakina here, she said, "Thank you both for sharing your messages here. Exactly. We must share our wisdom. My answer to your question, you are in alignment when things do not stress you out as before. You are accepting of what is and actively manifesting what you want in your life consciously. I do not know you personally, but I know you in a spiritual way as a fellow sister on the path of realization who is doing her part to help others who are attracted to you for your message. So thank you again, Misha. So Shakina, that whole comment here is just those flowers are just given. Okay, so thank you so much for showing up and for listening in tonight. We really appreciate your presence. And Charlene, thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you for all who were here live with us. And we had a lot of people show up. We had River of Life Fellowship. We had Leslie George, Curtis Brooks, Diana Parker, Latricia Miller, Kat Ruiz, Maureen Gage Edwards, Duke Lott, Girl Talk Podcast. Um, who else was in here in the building? Did I say Charlene? Okay, Charlene Brown,
Curtis
Sadija
Brooks.
Smiley. Yeah, who is that?
Curtis Brooks.
Curtis Brooks, Dwayne Whiteside. Um, Goodness gracious. Y'all were here and thank you for being here because again, the Emmys are on. According to my mom, she said the Emmys are gonna be on tonight. So I was like, okay, mom, I just gotta, get going.
Marine predicted we were going to bring the fire tonight, right?
Oh
I think
yeah, right. Like,
he had the
listen,
crystal ball.
okay. I tell you, you're welcome. Yes, yes, yes. And she said, "Slay." All right, y'all. So this has been the Slay to Success talk show. Your host, your Slay Queen, Rochelle Hemingway. And just so you know, all right, if you haven't been listening, subscribing, and sharing, I've had some amazing, Slay amazing guests. 42. That's what Misha's number is, 42. Okay. So you can go back and listen to the other 41 that have been on the show, just sharing their knowledge, sharing their wisdom, just pouring into us. All right. So make sure you go back and listen to that. And then come back next Sunday, y'all, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I get yet another guest. Okay. So we're just going to keep this party going. Have a slay amazing week. All right. Guard your ears, guard your mind, just like Misha said. Okay. And we're going to come back after the week. Just have a beautiful week, y'all. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep on slaying. Okay. Until you can't slay no more. All right. We'll see you later. Any other last words, Misha?
Namaste.
That's right. All right, y'all. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.